looking to connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Good evening, I'm Alma Angeles, and you're watching Asean In Focus on tonight's headlines. Israel said that 11 more hostages released in the Gaza Strip had arrived safely hours after the announcement that a truce between Israel and Hamas in Gaza will be extended by 2 days, opening the way for further releases. A joint maritime patrol conducted by the Philippines and Australia in the West Philippine Sea has concluded successfully despite the presence of Chinese vessels and the patrol of an aircraft in the area. A 6.5 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of northern Papua New Guinea today, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. In a shocking turn of events, a decorated Thai para-athlete shot and killed his bride and 4 other people at their wedding reception before taking his own life in northeastern Thailand. Israel said that 11 more hostages released in the Gaza Strip had arrived safely hours after the announcement that a truce between Israel and Hamas in Gaza will be extended by 2 days, opening the way for further releases. Hamas announced the agreement to prolong the truce by 48 hours shortly before it was due to end today, though there was no immediate confirmation from Israel. The move was nevertheless hailed by UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres as a glimpse of hope and humanity in the middle of the darkness of war.
In relation to the second, I would say it's a glimpse of hope and humanity in the middle of the darkness of war. And I strongly hope that this will enable us to increase even more the humanitarian aid to the people in Gaza that is suffering so much, knowing that even with that additional amount of time, it will be impossible to satisfy all the dramatic needs of the population in Gaza.
Late Monday, Israel's military announced that 11 hostages were now in Israeli territory.
העבודה עוד רבה והמשימה לא תושלם עד כולם ישובו הביתה.
Shortly after the arrival of the hostages was confirmed, Israel's prison authority said 33 Palestinian inmates had been released.
كنت قاعدين على الساعة 9 أجوا السهرية فحكوا لي تفتيش حكوا لي تحقيق كلبشونا وأخذونا فنزلنا مقابلة شباك حكوا لي إن اليوم مروحين في الصفقة وإذا بتعمل أي شيء راح نرجعك وبهددوا.
The freed Israelis are dual nationals of France, Germany, and Argentina, according to Qatar, which helped mediate the deal. German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock welcomed the release of the hostages, including 2 German teenagers, after 52 days of suffering and despair.
We want to thank all of you for the support. We're the ones who brought them back. Us, you, everyone who supported and stated their voice and spoke up. So please continue doing that for all the rest of the hostages out there. We'll keep fighting until the last one of them is here, back with us, with his family.
Qatar, with the support of the United States and Egypt, has been engaged in intense negotiations to establish and prolong the truce in Gaza. Qatari Foreign Ministry spokesman Mahed Al-Ansari announced that an agreement has been reached to extend the humanitarian truce for an additional 2 days in the Gaza Strip.
The campaign to end Hamas and bring our hostages home will resume immediately with the end of the hostage release pause. But Hamas is on notice. That option for an extension is open. We want to receive another additional 50 hostages beyond tonight on our way to bringing everyone home. Framework remains in place for the release of more hostages after tonight's batch, providing an additional 1 day of hostage release pause for every 10 additional hostages who are released. Last week, the government approved a prospective list of 300 Palestinian violent criminals in Israeli jails for release under this framework. Under the agreed 3-for-1 ratio, that would allow for another 5 days of a hostage release pause for another 50 hostages, should Hamas agree to release those people from captivity. When Hamas stops releasing hostages under the existing framework, Israel will return to realizing our 3 goals with full force: eliminating Hamas, ensuring that Gaza never again pose a threat to the people of Israel, and of course, releasing all of our hostages. As of yesterday, November 26th, 226 trucks loaded with shelter equipment have been transferred to the Gaza Strip. This is part of the ongoing humanitarian aid being delivered via international organizations through the Rafah border crossing.
The White House welcomed the agreement to extend the truce. U.S. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said that in order to extend the pause, Hamas has committed to releasing another 20 women and children.
We welcome the announcement just a little bit ago, I think in the last hour or so, by Qatar, that the humanitarian pause in Gaza, now in its 4th day, will be extended for another 2 days through Thursday morning Israel time. This humanitarian pause has already brought a halt to the fighting, together with a surge of humanitarian assistance. Now, in order to extend the pause, Hamas has committed to releasing another 20 women and children over the next 2 days. We would, of course, hope to see the pause extended further, and that will depend upon Hamas continuing to release hostages.
An 84-year-old Israeli hostage, Elma Albraham, was released by Palestinian Hamas militants and rushed to a hospital intensive care unit, with her life now in danger, according to the hospital director.
It is clear from her current medical condition as she arrived here at Soroka Medical Center that she was neglected in a way that no human being should be treated. She was not given the needed medications. When she arrived, her body temperature was 28.5 Celsius degrees. Her pulse was 40. She was not fully conscious. Now, she is in life-threatening condition, which could have been avoided.
Last night, Elma Avraham was released from Hamas captivity. She was rushed to a hospital in critical condition. Elma is 84 years old. She's a mother, a grandmother, a great-grandmother. During the Hamas massacre of October 7th, Elma was taken hostage by savage terrorists. She was dragged into Gaza on the back of a motorbike. Elma was in Hamas captivity for 51 days and nights. She was kept in a harsh condition. She was denied life-saving medication. She was not visited by the Red Cross. When she was released from captivity, she was in a critical condition. Elma is a reminder of her critical mission. Now she's home. She's being taken care of. But who's taking care of other hostages in Gaza? Over 150 of our hostages, men, women, children, babies. Who's taking care of them? Who is holding a 10-month-old baby, Kfir Bivas? I'll tell you, ruthless terrorists are holding him hostage in Gaza. We call on the international organization, especially the Red Cross, to use every tool at their disposal to gain access to our hostages, to make sure they're receiving the medical care they need. Our hostages are not lost. We won't sit around and hope they're found. We will rescue our hostages at all costs. It is our duty. It is our moral responsibility of the Israeli Defense Forces. It's why we fight and why we must keep on fighting until all our hostages are home.
A joint maritime patrol conducted by the Philippines and Australia in the West Philippine Sea has concluded successfully despite the presence of Chinese vessels in the area.
We don't know the message that they're trying to send us, no? But for us, it is very, very clear that what we are doing are legitimate operations because we have all the right to patrol our territorial seas and our exclusive economic zone. And that is exactly what we are doing, but this time we are doing it with our allies and our partners.
The three-day patrol, which commenced on November 25, involved a series of exercises aimed at enhancing maritime cooperation and promoting security in the region. The patrol's success underscores the growing strategic partnership between the Philippines and Australia, which was elevated to a comprehensive strategic partnership in September this year.
Our militaries are routinely working side by side to enhance respective capabilities, build our interoperability, and most importantly, to deepen the existing close personal ties between our people.
This partnership encompasses a wide range of areas, including defense, security, climate change, and education. The joint patrol also comes at a time of heightened tensions in the South China Sea, where China has been asserting expansive claims over vast territories. These claims have been met with resistance from neighboring countries, including the Philippines, which has accused China of encroaching on its exclusive economic zone. In a recent statement, President Marcos Jr. expressed concern over China's increasing military presence in the region, noting that Beijing has shown interest in building bases on reefs closer to Philippine shores.
This is unfortunately, as I have said to some of our partners, unfortunately I cannot report that the situation is improving. The situation has become more dire than it was before. The nearest reefs that the PLA have started to show interest in terms of slowly using these atolls, these shoals, as a basis for building. Basis really is what they are approaching, have come closer and closer to the Philippine coastline. And the nearest one is now around 60 nautical miles from the nearest Philippine coast. And this is an evolving situation. If you will remember, the Spratly Islands was used by the by the U.S. Navy as a bombing range for a very long time, and so there was no question that this was part of the Philippines. Now they have fallen into the hands of a foreign power, and many of these features that are in the West Philippine Sea are slowly being turned into bases, really.
In tonight's other news, a 6.5 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of northern Papua New Guinea today, according to the USGS. The quake, which occurred at a depth of approximately 12 kilometers or 7 miles, was felt in the town of Wewak, the capital of East Sepik province. While no tsunami threat has been issued, the earthquake caused noticeable tremors in Wewak, with residents describing the ground swaying like you are on a boat. Although no immediate damage reports have been received, the quake serves as a reminder of the region's vulnerability to seismic activity. Papua New Guinea is situated along the seismically active Ring of Fire, belt of intense tectonic activity that encircles the Pacific Ocean. This region experiences frequent earthquakes and volcanic eruptions due to the constant movement and interaction of tectonic plates. In a shocking turn of events, a decorated Thai para-athlete shot and killed his bride and 4 other people at their wedding reception before taking his own life in northeastern Thailand. The groom, Chaturong Suksuk, 29, a silver medalist at the ASEAN Para Games, reportedly engaged in a heated argument with his bride, Kanchana Panchuntwek, over personal matters. Following the altercation, Suksuk retrieved his gun from his car and opened fire, tragically killing his bride, her mother, sister, and a guest who was struck by a stray bullet. Suksuk, a former Thai Army Ranger who lost his right leg during a border patrol, then turned the gun on himself, ending his life. The incident has left the community in shock and mourning. Suksuk's athletic achievements had brought pride to the region, and his sudden and violent actions have left many struggling to comprehend the tragedy. Gun violence is a prevalent issue in Thailand, where firearms are easily accessible through both legal and illegal channels. While mass shootings are relatively uncommon, this attack follows a mall shooting last month that claimed 3 lives. In a briefing to the UN Security Council, Assistant Secretary General for Political and Peace-Building Affairs and Peace Operations, Khaled Kiari, expressed grave concerns over the recent missile launch by the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, highlighting the significant threat it poses to international civil aviation and maritime traffic.
The DPRK's launches represent a serious risk to international civil aviation and maritime traffic. While the DPRK issued the pre-launch notification to the Japanese Coast Guard, it did not issue airspace or maritime safety notifications to the International Maritime Organizations, the International Civil Aviation Organization, or the International Telecommunications Union. While sovereign states have the right to benefit from peaceful space activities, Security Council resolutions expressly prohibit the DPRK from conducting any launches using ballistic missile technology. With growing tensions on the Korean Peninsula, the importance of re-establishing communication channels and off-ramps is essential.
Addressing the Security Council, U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield expressed concern over Russia's expanding military relationship with the DPRK.
Russia is expanding its military relationship with the DPRK, which, by Putin's own admission, could include helping the DPRK build more satellites like the one launched last week.
Japanese Ambassador Ishikane Kimihiro cautioned against attempts to justify the DPRK's pursuit of weapons of mass destruction programs.
We should not be deceived by any attempt to justify North Korea's ambition to pursue unlawful WMD programs. The Security Council should be united on non-proliferation matters. I urge all Council members to reaffirm their commitment to the global non-proliferation regime that we all must value and uphold.
Meanwhile, Russia's Deputy Permanent Representative Anna M. Evstig-Niva pointed to the ongoing military exercises conducted by the U.S. and its allies in the region.
И демонстрация военной силы США в тысячах километров от своих границ продолжает бить рекорды. К настоящему моменту за текущий год союзниками были проведены уже 6 совместных учений при непосредственном участии американских вооруженных сил.
In response, DPRK Ambassador Song Kim attributed the region's instability to the increasing military movements of the U.S. and its allies.
The Korean Peninsula and the region are in unstable situation due to increasing military maneuver of the United States and follower nations. The DPRK launched its reconnaissance satellite. It decisively controlled and handled this situation and thus prevent the outbreak of the new war in the region.
Amidst the escalating trade tensions between China and the West, Vietnam and Japan have officially elevated their bilateral relationship to a comprehensive strategic partnership, marking a significant milestone in their diplomatic ties. This upgrade, announced during Vietnamese President Vo Van Thuong's visit to Tokyo on November 27, underscores Vietnam's burgeoning strategic role as a crucial link in global supply chains, as companies seek to diversify their manufacturing operations away from China. Vietnam has emerged as an attractive destination, attracting substantial foreign investment. Now, this shift coincides with Vietnam's historical upgrade of relations with the U.S. in September, where the two former adversaries signed several cooperation agreements, including those pertaining to semiconductors and critical minerals. Vietnam has designated 5 countries as comprehensive strategic partners, namely China, India, Russia, South Korea, and the U.S. Japan, Vietnam's third largest source of foreign investment and fourth largest trading partner, boasts a bilateral trade volume that reached $50 billion in 2022. Several Japanese multinationals such as Canon, Honda, Panasonic, and Bridgestone have established themselves as major foreign investors in Vietnam, transforming it into a regional manufacturing hub and one of Asia's fastest growing economies. In 2020, Vietnam and Japan, both embroiled in separate maritime disputes with China, reached a $348 million Japanese loan agreement to support Vietnam's construction of 6 patrol vessels. A powerful storm, dubbed the storm of the century by Russian media, wreaked havoc across southern Russia, Ukraine, and Moldova, leaving at least 13 people dead and almost 2 million without power. The tempestuous weather system unleashed hurricane-force winds, heavy snowfall, and torrential flooding, disrupting lives and causing widespread damage. The storm, which began sweeping through the region on Sunday, has particularly impacted the southern Russian provinces of Dagestan, Krasnodar, and Rostov, as well as the occupied Ukrainian territories of Donetsk, Lugansk, Kherson, Zaporizhia, and Crimea. Russian President Vladimir Putin has been closely monitoring the situation, described as a, quote, meteorological disaster by Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov. President Putin has instructed the government to take swift and decisive action to provide assistance to the affected regions. Russia's energy ministry estimates that around 1.9 million people have been affected by power outages, hindering essential services and disrupting daily life. The storm has also claimed lives, with 4 fatalities reported in Russia and Crimea and another 4 in Moldova. In Ukraine, the severe weather has left at least 5 people dead and plunged almost 1,500 towns and villages into darkness. Snowfall in some areas has reached up to 25 centimeters or 10 inches, causing significant transportation disruptions. A glimmer of hope has emerged for the critically endangered Sumatran rhinoceros as a rare calf was born in a western Indonesian sanctuary. The birth at Waikambas National Park on Sumatra marks a significant milestone in conservation efforts to save this precious species. The Worldwide Fund for Nature, or WWF, and the International Union for Conservation of Nature, or IUCN, estimate that only around 80 Sumatran rhinos remain in the wild, confined to the Indonesian islands of Sumatra and Borneo. And this makes the birth of this male calf, weighing 25 kilograms, a momentous occasion. The calf, fathered by a rhino named Harapan, was born to a female rhino named Delilah over the weekend. And this is the 5th calf born under Waikambas National Park's semi-wild breeding program, a testament to the dedication and expertise of the park staff. Poaching for their horns, a valuable commodity in illegal wildlife trade and habitat loss due to deforestation, have pushed this species to the brink of extinction. The IUCN classifies the Sumatran rhino as critically endangered, the smallest of the 5 rhino species on the planet. As my usual habit, I'd like to end the day on a positive note. Let's encourage and build each other up so that no one is left behind. And that's it for tonight's broadcast. I'm Alma Angeles. Stay in the news because we live in extraordinary times. Good night.